Hello guys, welcome back. Boy, it's starting to get pretty cold out there, isn't it? How do you stay dapper and handsome and well put together while still keeping warm? Well, the best way to do that is with a top coat. Now, there are so many different coats out there, and while I have a pretty big collection of them, I don't have every kind of coat that there is. I have a lot, but today we're gonna look specifically at top coats and overcoats. Now, I know that those two terms are used interchangeably today, but a top coat I consider more a slimmer cut, most likely a lighter weight fabric, something that will go over maybe one or two layers. A top coat just goes over the top. An overcoat, however, can be a big, you see those duffel coats which almost look like the coat is wearing the person. Those are kind of meant to go over everything you have and keep you warm in that really cold weather. So I actually have a little bit of both I'd like to show you today, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of go through what I have, tell you why I chose it. Some of the pieces I have are custom, some of them are vintage, and some of them are off the rack. So I have a little bit from every category, a little bit from each price point, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through those, tell about the fits, the reason I chose them, because honestly, they all do fit somewhat differently, and they're all kind of for a different application. One of the things my wife constantly gets on me about is you don't need any more coats, and I just love them because you can wear the same coat all week long and nobody would notice because you're wearing different clothes underneath it. But I think you get a better value in terms of price per wear with a coat than almost anything else. Maybe shoes, but almost anything else. So I love jackets. What can I tell you? I love them. Now let's talk about the way an overcoat is supposed to fit. As the name implies, it's supposed to go over whatever you have on, and that includes a three-piece suit. And if you're wearing something like, say, a light sweater underneath your suit jacket, well, it's supposed to go over that too. So sometimes these things have to be cut a little bit roomier than normal. Now, of course, you want to go for the best fit that you possibly can. And if you're going to the store to try on overcoats, the best thing to do is go in there with a few layers on. Don't try on an overcoat over a t-shirt and say, yeah, it feels pretty good. Because when you get home and you're actually going to go out and you have a few layers on underneath, sometimes you won't even be able to get your arms in those sleeves, or maybe you'll put it on and you're gonna hear a rip down the back seam. I mean, these things happen. So the best thing to do is dress the way you would when you're going to wear that jacket when you go to pick one out. One of the places that I think is the hardest for guys to fit is not necessarily in the shoulders, the chest, because most of the time you can get away with more in an overcoat than you would in a suit jacket, but it's the sleeve length. Now, the sleeves should cover the suit jacket or blazer sleeves entirely, and they should be touching the very top of your hand. One of my pet peeves is when I have a sleeve that's down here and it's hitting my palm. That is enough to make me just honestly rip the sleeve off. I can't stand that. So none of my jackets have that. However, some are longer than others, and we're gonna get into that in a minute when we go into the jackets, but that's kind of what you wanna look for. The other thing is make sure that the collar gap is nice and tight against your jacket. It's not too big and billowy, and it's also not suffocating you like this. You're going to wanna be able to button that suit jacket and sit down comfortably. So allow yourself enough room in this thing, and that can be difficult to get the shoulders perfect and allow yourself enough room, but most of the time overcoats are cut with a tendency to be a little bit boxier, and that's a good thing in this case. You could get a great navy peacoat in full 100% wool for a steal at some of these vintage shops. Some of the stuff that I've gotten here, like my full cashmere overcoat in a camel color, I got from a thrift store. And you could spend a lot less there than you would if you're gonna go off the rack or, of course, bespoke, custom, made to measure, any of those options. So make sure you check out your thrift store. There are a lot of good options to be had there. Okay, we're gonna have a look at my overcoat, top coat collection here, and in no particular order, we're gonna start with one of my favorites, my Brooks Brothers Mac, and as you can see, this is a very short jacket. It just barely covers a suit jacket. What I like about this is that it's very roomy. It has a lot of space to kind of just get comfortable in, no matter what I have underneath that. Even if I'm wearing a chunky sweater, I could still put this over the top. And as a matter of fact, when I went to visit Dan over in Articles of Style, it was The beginning of March, it was freezing in New York City, and I wore this over the top of a down vest, so it kept me very warm throughout the day. The other thing I like about this is that it has those patch pockets, and it's kind of a little bit darker of a camel color, almost more of a caramel color, and it goes very well with almost everything. Now, this is made out of a combination of wool and cashmere. It has a 3-button closure, and it's just a very simple jacket, very easy to wear, and one of my favorites. Up next, I recently did a video on this. This is my Harris Tweed Articles of Style jacket in a gorgeous houndstooth. This is the jacket that I saw and just could not get enough of. I dreamt about this jacket, I swear to you. And as you can see, it has a little bit of a slimmer cut. It ends about mid-thigh. This is unlined, however, so there's not a lot going on between you and the outside, but it is made out of 100% Harris Tweed wool, so it's warm, and it's cut a little bit slimmer. And what I like about it too is it has that neat adjustable back that you don't see there, that little strap that's in the back. It's just a wonderful jacket. This is what I'll put on when I want people to go, hey, look at that. It's definitely eye-catching. Okay, up next is a vintage piece. Now, I am not familiar with this brand. The brand is McGregor. I am, however, familiar with the hallmarks of a nice quality jacket, and this is 100% suede, made in the USA, fully lined, and it looked like it was maybe 70s vintage, and it really held up very well. And it's one of those pieces that I will wear in the late fall into the beginning of winter. However, it's not really that warm, not that well insulated, so it's a great piece for those transitional months. It is a 4-button closure, which again makes me think that it might have been 70s vintage. It's fully lined, and it has beautiful leather wrapped buttons. It's just a very nice jacket. More on the casual side of it, but I like this one a lot. The next one is another vintage find, and I really like this because this actually came from Hartford, Connecticut. Now, if anybody is from the area, or if you're from anywhere around Connecticut, you may remember G. Fox. Now, G. Fox was an independent department store, the way you see in like Miracle on 34th Street, those old big department stores, and they would sell everything from lawnmowers to men's clothes to accessories for your hair, all kinds of stuff in there. And this was actually from G. Fox. It says on the inside, Hartford, Connecticut. This is 100% cashmere. It does have a few little wear areas on it, as you can see on the left shoulder there. And it fits very, very roomy. This is something that I will put on when I know it's gonna be cold and I am layered up, because I can fit all kinds of stuff underneath there. If I wanna wear a sweater with a suit jacket with a scarf and all kinds of stuff, then this is the jacket that I reach for. It's definitely roomier. It's more of a classic cut. Hey, it's from that era anyway. But I just love this. I love the camel color. I love how soft the cashmere is, and it's fully lined. This is just a wonderful jacket, and I got it for a steal considering that it's 100% cashmere. All right, this next one is actually the first overcoat I ever bought. And I remember buying this back when Obama was elected because I said, oh my God, he's got my jacket. And of course, this is probably much nicer, but this is actually something that I got, and it's one of those brands that you can get a very good quality garment for not too much money. And that is the in-house Nordstrom brand, the John Nordstrom line. They have several others. They're Calibrate, I know, is a Nordstrom line. I think it's 1901 is their shoe line. Nordstrom actually makes some pretty decent clothes. Now, this is another wool cashmere blend. This is a much more classic, longer overcoat. This is something that it almost makes you look like a hitman if you wear it with the right accessories. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on what you're doing. But I find myself not wearing this as much as I used to because black is sort of, it's just a little bit too easy. And I actually kind of tend to like the browns and more bold colors more. However, this is a great off-the-rack option for not a lot of money, and it's held up very well. Now, finally, is my Articles of Style top coat. As you can see, this is much slimmer cut. This is 100% silk. However, it is woven in a tweed kind of weave, which gives it a little bit more of a rugged feel to it, some more visually interesting texture. This, again, is a very light jacket, and unfortunately, when I got it, which was about a year ago, I was a little bit slimmer, and I've been doing some more heavy weight training lately, and unfortunately, that means that your clothes fit a little bit different. So as you can see, the chest button is pulling just a little bit, so I probably gotta back off on those bench presses because I don't want to grow out of my investment wardrobe, but this is a wonderful thing to wear on those colder spring nights, or if you're going someplace and you may need a jacket a little bit later in the day, or especially if you have to offer one to your date. This is a wonderful thing. Just make sure she doesn't go home with it, because this is a nice piece. It's totally unlined, so the breeze will go right through this thing, but if you need another light layer, something that hits you about mid-thigh to wrap around, this is perfect. It's kind of a specific use. It's a very limited time you can wear it, but in that time, there is just nothing better. Now, those are my overcoats, top coats, my slightly more formal outerwear. I have others, however, I would really like to kind of compartmentalize these videos so they don't go on for hours and hours exploring every jacket that I have. But if you're looking for something to replace that outerwear that you got at REI, that more active wear kind of thing, then this is a great option. Now, when the temperatures really start to plummet, all bets are off. I am going straight for my down parka with the fur around the hood to keep myself warm. When it's below zero, nobody's gonna care that you have a cashmere top coat on. So these are definitely for the bulk of the time in winter, especially here in New England, where it really kind of just stays around 30 degrees. So that's kind of it. Gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Oh, and ladies too. I checked my analytics and there's like 5 women who watch my channel. So thank you to all 5 of you. And I know one of those is my mother. Hi, Ma. How you doing? So thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. I will see you next time.